you to talk about dynasties in sports because of the champions that were just decided in the past week. So what I want you two, along with myself, to tell me.
No, I refuse.
Is the top 5 dynasties in sports for you all time.
All right.
Paul, go. Number 5.
Wow, I have to actually do this in order, huh?
Yeah. I don't know. That's why I was like, why are you not writing this down?
Number 5, I think, you know what? I got to go with the Pittsburgh Steelers in the 1970s.
That low, huh?
Four championships in one decade.
It was actually 4 in 6 years.
6 years.
Yeah, 4 in 6 years.
Wow.
Yeah, that kind of
See, that's the thing. I didn't
too.
realize I had to put these in order right away.
You should have. So much a big fan of you are of our show.
Okay, Doug, number 5.
My number 5, and this is gonna crack you up. It's the Canadians from 1956 to 1960. They won 5 in a row in the NHL. By the way, I did one for each sport, so I will not see any sport repeats. So I'm sorry, that's my number 1. Whoops.
Oh, you spoiled that one.
My number 5 was the Yankees from 95 to 07 in baseball, where they won. They were like in the playoffs for like 13 straight years, and they won like 4 World Series in a row in the late 90s and all that. Your turn. I was scribbling things out.
My number 5 is the 1970s Steelers, so I agree with Paul.
You're both lame. Paul, number 4. We have like 10 minutes. There's no rush.
I can't believe that.
I really wanted to find a way to work the 1990s Atlanta Braves into this, but they only won 1 championship.
Mm-hmm.
Not a dynasty.
So, yeah, it's really hard to go with that. But
so why'd you bring them up?
just to get them in there. So they would. I guess they'd be my number 6. I'm not putting them
honorable mention. How's that?
Ranking. Huh?
Honorable mention.
Okay, honorable mention.
Out of order.
Yeah, and you know what? If I really think about this afterwards, I'm sure I'd change my order.
That's okay. That's okay. We'll give you a pass on this one.
But I was actually also going to include the Montreal Canadiens in there, so I'll go with that as my number 4.
Okay, that was the one. That was the one. The Canadians have had 3 dynasties.
Yeah,
they had 4 consecutive, 5 consecutive, and 4 and 5 at one point, separate times in their history. So yeah, any point in time, the Canadians. Okay, number 4 is from the NBA, and it's the Boston Celtics from about a 30-year span from 1956 to 86, where they won 16 and 30, which is mind-boggling, where it just makes it so crazy that you're like, put your mind in a bottle.
I was going to say, did you really just say mind-bottling?
Yes.
Yeah, he meant it. He meant it.
Totally planned.
My number 4 is something that's already been said. It's the Yankees of the 1990s. I think that after 2001 they lost their dynasty status, but I would say the Yankees. The fact that they were
harsh
because I defined a dynasty as obviously championships, but a team that just is like kind of like what you've talked about before with Jimmy Johnson, like, oh, when's he going to win another? When's he going to win another championship? When's he going to win another race? And it's kind of like that's what it was for the Yankees for a long time. So that's why they're my number 4. The fact that they won in 98 and in 99 and in 2000 and made it back in 2001. It's just like, oh, goodness. So that was my number 4.
Yeah. Well, I'm just looking at this. Because this is what Wikipedia says. It says New York Yankees 95 to 2007, 13 consecutive postseason appearances, 10 division titles, 6 AL pennants, 4 World Series championships. So that's why I kind of include that whole area. Paul, can you think of a number 3 on the spot?
Yeah. My number 3 is actually, I'm already reordering this. My number 3 would actually be my number 5 after thinking about all this.
Yeah, the Steelers. Okay, we'll just say number 3.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I'll keep it at number 3.
We're giving you a pass.
The Patriots.
And
from
the 3 and 4.
Yeah, because you know what? It's hard to do in every sport, but I think it's harder to repeat in football than in
because they have a really strict salary cap.
Right.
And there's turnover in coaching staffs and things like that. So yeah, that's a very good point.
Anytime you can repeat and actually stay competitive, make the playoffs, win division championships, win conference championships, let alone the Super Bowl, multiple years in a row, it is amazing. And the Patriots would still be going if it weren't for the way the NFL playoff is structured. They went 11-5 last year and missed the playoffs.
Yeah. And Chris is totally not bitter about that.
I'm not a big Patriots fan.
Mm-hmm.
I got nothing against them except for Bill Belichick.
I'm not really bitter. It is what it is.
No,
I mean, it happens.
another day.
Right. But, I'd go with the Patriots.
Okay, my number 3 was the Steelers in the 70s. So I was like, you're both like number 5? What, are you both crazy? 4 and 6? That's amazing. No, it says Steelers in the 70s.
Okay. My number 3 is a current dynasty, and it is in NASCAR. It is the number 48 team and what they're doing right now. Because Jimmy Johnson, like I said earlier, defining what I said about a dynasty. What did you just whisper?
Nothing. It was he's not going to win the championship this year.
The fact that he's consistently proven that he is one of the best drivers and has won 3 championships and very well could win a 4th championship this year, that is my number 3.
That whole time I was just going la 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 in my hair where you were saying all that.
Yeah, whatever. Paul, number 2.
You knew it was going to come up.
Yeah, I did.
Chicago Bulls.
Yeah.
6 championships in 8 years. If Jordan hadn't left, it would have been 8-8. There's no doubt in my mind.
Nobody had anything for Jordan those years. Actually, I feel kind of embarrassed that I didn't put the Bulls on there. I don't know why I didn't. I'll look at that later because I'm just. But you're right. Yeah, that was an amazing stretch.
And they even add to the fact that their 4th championship year, they broke the all-time record for wins in a season,
which was also amazing too.
72-10. That's unheard of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Number 2, right?
Yep.
Number 2 was actually Hendrick Motorsports in the 90s in NASCAR. They won 4 straight championships with 2 drivers.
Oh, 95, 96, 97,
yeah.
98. Yep.
Gordon, Terry Labonte, then Gordon 2 more years in a row. And up until that point, those were the first championships that Hendrick Motorsports had ever won, and they won 4 straight, which is really impressive,
Yep, agreed. My number 2, I agree with Paul again, the 1990s Chicago Bulls.
Man, you guys failed on the Steelers. I failed on the Bulls.
At least we had the Steelers on our list.
When I think of dynasties, 6 and 8 in any sport is just unbelievable. Unbelievable.
All right. Do you have a number 1, Paul?
Yeah. You know what? You would have to look up the years for this, and you've already included it in one of your listings. I'm not going over the 30-year span of the Celtics, but 8 championships in 8 years for the Boston Celtics.
It doesn't say specifically. It does say
there were
11 and 13 from 57 to 69. So it must have been in that span.
Yeah, they won 8 consecutive championships in that span.
Yeah. Well, my number 1 is the Canadians winning 5 in a row in the NHL.
Where have I heard that before?
I don't know. Some crazy guy was running around saying that earlier before we started.
My number 1.
Chris, number 1. Let's make it a little more climactic since mine wasn't.
My number 1 is I put late 1950s, early 60s Celtics.
Boston Celtics.
The fact that I consider it close between the Bulls and the Celtics, but the fact that with what we just said about 6 out of 8 being unheard of,
8 out of 8.
Well, I wasn't even thinking. I wasn't even thinking that. I was thinking the 11 and 13 because we said in football, it's in any sport, it's just hard. Times are different, but it's hard to keep competitive because it's the cyclical kind of the thing that sports is, and the fact that they won 11 and 13 is just ridiculously.
But also think about it back then. No salary cap, no free agency, very little turnover back then.
Yeah, that's the only thing you can say.
Regardless, 8 consecutive championships, 11 championships in 13 years.
They were cheating.
Probably.
It's
steroids. They were using steroids.
That is unbelievable to me, though. So.
All right, we have
number 1.
Yeah. I was disappointed. I didn't want to do this list anyway. All right, that wraps up another episode. Thank you, Paul, for joining us this week.
Man, we couldn't even talk about the Cubs firing Gerald Perry.
I know. Well, it's because the Bears talk went 20 minutes. So, but that's okay. That was good though. I was glad to get some football talk in. I miss football right now. Once again, we'd like to thank FVTV, Mike Reynolds, Wabansie Community College, Jamie Lara, who's not here today. We're thanking him anyway because we're nice guys, and Paul because Paul helped set up a lot of this too.
Yeah, thank you, Paul, very much.
And also for joining us.
Thanks for having me on.
Chris, let's get that contact info up.
Check us out on YouTube, our official page, youtube.com/Racin and stuff. If you ever have a comment, question, concern, criticism, whatever else, email us, racinandstuff@gmail.com. You can also do a power search and download us for free and subscribe to us at the iTunes store. Search Racin and Stuff.
All right. So, as always, I'm Doug.
And I am Chris.
I'm Paul.
And we'll talk to you later.
See ya.